So here's the thing. Do you think hype for a manga can be a bad thing, right? And a perfect example is Kakurabachi. I've done videos on it. I've talked about it. And I think in spite of that, it's turned out to really grab an audience. And even I want to go back and check it out because I've heard that it is continuously gotten better and better and better. And that internet fervor of like, this is the greatest thing of all time, which could have worked against it. It's actually powered through and it can maybe have some staying power. And especially if you think about the state of Shonen Jump specifically, it needs some titles with some staying power because a lot of them are ending. But what I really want to talk about when I say can hype be a bad thing for a manga is kind of in the collecting aspect of it, right? When there is a series that you see on Twitter or see in YouTube or whatever, and you commit to it. A perfect example for me, right, is the Demon Slayer box set. When Demon Slayer came out, especially that anime, it kind of took over. So much so that the movie is one of the highest grossing anime movies of all time, Mugen Train. And it honestly felt like one of those animes that was going to stay around for a long time. But then the author said, no, I'm ending it. And the box set came out. And I had never collected any of the Demon Slayer manga. So I immediately jumped on the box set. And this is when the box set was released. I know what you're asking yourself. So, did you enjoy the manga? The box set's still sitting on the shelf. I haven't touched it. And I think there's a lot of factors. I buy a lot of manga. I read a lot of manga. And especially, I've been really trying to find new series, right? And with that comes a lot of series that maybe I was really hyped for when the box set came out or the volumes came out or the anime started airing. And I just missed that window because I feel like you can definitely have some series that you missed the window on, right? If you would have caught it in the zeitgeist and in the conversation, you might have really been hooked on it. But now time has passed and it's kind of fallen off. Not a lot of people are talking about it. And that urge and that need to read something or watch something has kind of faded away. And here's the thing, I'm not saying like Demon Slayer is bad, right? It's just an example that I can think of when it comes to I pot committed to a box set and I legitimately have not touched it. But is that mentality of getting hyped for something and then for it just to sit on the shelf, missing that window, is it a bad thing? Because I also think that it can benefit a series. Let's say you miss that window and maybe it is too hyped and you read and you're like, yeah, it's all right, but you kind of just put it aside. But if you miss that window and you let some time pass and then you pick that series up, it could be the right time, the right moment, and you could fall in love with that series. And again, I think people are going to have different opinions and we could talk in the comments down below, but I'm going to say it's a good thing. I think you need that hype window. I think you need a series, especially now when these legacy series are ending. I think you're going to need that hype window for even any of these series to get a shot at becoming the next thing. I think it has a lot to do with the internet. And this is going to sound like an old man rambling right now. All right, listen. Let me have my old man ramble moment for a second, please. The speed at which the internet loves something, forgets about something, is at the quickest it's ever been ever. People love something for a millisecond and forget about it the next millisecond. And I think companies are trying to navigate that. One of the best examples there has ever been in recent memory is Morbius. When the internet meme culture got Morbius to be released back in theaters and then it bombed a second time is one of the best pranks the internet has ever pulled on a big company. And I love it. I love that. Never seen the movie. It might be good, might be bad, probably bad. It's honestly, let's be honest, it's probably horrible. But that prank and that moment was, I think it solidifies kind of internet culture right now. And with companies trying to navigate that stuff, I think that's why we're seeing some series get canceled or get a very quick run, right? And there was even a story coming out that Undead Unluck. And if you remember, and I remember this, especially in the manga community, When Undead Unluck came out, its first volume, people were hyping it up incredibly high. And then the anime got incredible good numbers for its first few handful of episodes. But now you don't really hear a lot of people talk about it. You know, and again, I've never read it. I watched a little bit of the anime and it kind of wasn't my thing, but Undead Unluck is already getting articles about, like, is the author rushing the ending because it's not pulling in the numbers that Shonen Jump thought it was going to pull in? But see, even to get as far as it's gotten, it needed that window of hype. And I truthfully believe if a series is going to kind of step up and fill the massive crater of a hole these series are leaving behind, it's going to need the YouTube, the TikTok, that hype of this is the greatest thing ever. I think that's why Kakurabachi has landed so well. And it also needs to be good. Like, don't get me wrong. It can't have this window of hype and then be like, oof, whew, we have made a mistake as the internet. We should not have hyped this series. This author, it did not hit. So it's going to need that perfect storm of hype and compelling characters and a great story to really fill these craters up. And that's why, even though that Demon Slayer box set is still sitting on my shelf, it was a great thing for that series. And whether people liked the ending or liked the series as a whole, and I think Demon Slayer has been very divisive in there is a section that loves that series to death. And then there's another section that's like, this is horrible. But that's kind of internet, right? That's kind of the internet that we live in right now. Like, it's got to be 0% or 100%. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot less middle or mid, which is not a bad thing. I've done a video on this too. Mid is not a bad thing. But I think that's why we're seeing a lot less mid things, because I think it either has to be the greatest thing ever or it's going to be horrible. And I kind of miss just average, to be honest with you. I feel like we would get a lot more mecha stuff if we could just accept average. And that would be great for me. Zoids. What I'm saying is we should bring back Zoids, is what I'm saying. BitCloud. Hear me. Liger Zero. That thought really hit me over the week of just this window of hype for series. I was looking at my collection, looking around, and I noticed that I have a box set that I've never touched. 1, 2, or 3 volumes of a series that I haven't even gotten around to reading. And I remember when it was what was talked about on YouTube, because again, I watch a lot of manga content on YouTube. And now it feels like those same creators that I was watching, they don't talk about it as much. And maybe, they're still reading it and still collecting it, and it's still a great series. And maybe the reason that it's not getting talked about so much is it did the thing. It came on the scene, got really hyped, and it's just being very consistent all the way through. Or it came on the scene, made a big splash, and now no one really talks about it. Or maybe even worse, it got canceled. But I don't know. It just was something I was thinking about this week, and I really wanted to look through my collection and be like, I am actually going to make an effort that I spent this money on to go through and check out some series that I was very hyped to own at a certain point in my life, and then it just kind of fell by the wayside. And I want to make up my own mind of like, was this a mistake? Did I pot commit too hard and I should not own this series because it is not at all what I wanted it to be? Or is there a hidden gem or a hidden favorite series of mine sitting on my shelf collecting dust, and I just need to make the time to check out this story? I'm hoping it's that. I'm really hoping that my collection is not filled with series that I have made a grave mistake. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think that window of hype, that series need that we need this thing where everyone is talking about it for it to even have a shot at going the distance and actually becoming a series that can be talked about in the same breath as the My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen, Dragon Ball Z, all of these legacy series that are going to be impactful, at least in this genre and demographic of manga, for a very long time? Does it need that moment when it comes on the scene? Or what I kind of hope can happen is there's already a series out there that's brand new. It's only got a few chapters that no one's really talking about. It's going to slowly build up momentum, and then all of a sudden, 30 chapters, 40 chapters in, or maybe an anime gets announced of it, it's going to find its audience, and that series is going to be in the conversation of some of these other legendary series. But I don't know, just something I was thinking about this week. Thought I would make a video about it, talk with you guys, and like I said, I really like talking with you guys and I really like making these videos. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble. It means the world to me. And as always, I hope if you're having a bad day, it gets better. If you're having a good day, it becomes fantastic. I'll see you next time.